Hey guys, welcome back to NY Sports MC. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Uh, Getting ready for the upcoming week. We do have some news coming out as the Jets have started practicing and they have started to allow some of the media to be present. So we've been getting a little bit more news out of this. Um, and tomorrow is actually the first day. They're not going to be full pads, but they'll have shoulder pads, helmets. So it seems like the only thing they won't have are the leg pads. So you'll probably see a little pop and a little hit in there. Um, but it should be interesting to just see as they continue to kind of progress into training camp, the more and more news that we have. So it was interesting as yesterday, I guess it was raining over there, and earlier today, sorry, and the reporters were all like in a room watching on a TV screen. So it was, it's funny how they're kind of working this with the whole COVID because they were inside in the bubble practicing. I guess they didn't want reporters there because it'd be too close. So it's just like I said, it's very interesting how they're changing everything around because of this pandemic. Ooh, Andrew getting into it right away, saying, "Hold on a second, I just pulled my hamstring." So yeah, it's giving you bad flashbacks to last year. We've already got a few guys that are banged up. From all reports, it seems like not too bad. It is very early in camp yet. They're not going to want to risk anybody. What's really been troubling is he kind of hasn't. They haven't wanted to come out and speak on Mims. I heard he could be back in a few days. Then you hear that Gase's not really responding to it that much. So Mims, like I said, I'm hoping he's back sooner rather than later. He is definitely somebody that we need to get as many reps as they possibly can during this training camp. And then you look at Pierre Desir, they said that was very, very minor. They expect him to be back on the field pretty soon. Vincent Smith is going to see a specialist for a core issue. That's not good. Hopefully he comes back nothing, but we'll have to just kind of wait and see. And this is something that I've mentioned. The one position group, obviously besides quarterback and Sam Darnold, the one position group that I said cannot afford to take injuries, and a lot of people said that was wide receiver. We cannot afford to take injuries at the wide receiver position, and we've taken what could be two big ones already. So Steven said Mims sounds like he's going to miss a month. You can tell from Gase's body language. So I actually didn't watch the video. I'll have to go and watch that. I only read the transcripts from it pretty much. So hopefully not. Hopefully that is wrong, but it doesn't look good. The Hogan signing definitely gives some concerns. I think we have to go beyond Hogan because right now, like I said, core injury with Vincent Smith doesn't make you feel good either. So I'd say bring in Paul Richardson, maybe Demaryius Thomas, Gabriel is still available. I'd look to bring one of those guys in as well because right now you have Breshad Perriman, which by all indications, he's looked very good. Caught a long touchdown pass today from Darnold. He was able to step up into the pocket and deliver a bomb down the field. But then you have Jeff Smith. You have the undrafted guys. You got Crowder obviously running that slot. But they got to bring in some other people. There's just not enough experience at that wide receiver position right now. They have to bring in some other bodies beyond Hogan, especially if the Mims or Vincent Smith injuries could be significant. So I'm sure they're waiting to see if they're both, worse than expected. I would assume that they're going to go out and sign somebody else. You know how we do things. We're actually surprised by this. We're not allowed to have nice things. Yeah, that's the curse of the second round. I mean, it's been amazing how our second round picks have been cursed. I mean, Marcus May has really been the only outlier, and he battled some injuries in the beginning of his career. Perriman seems to love Sam. Yes, he absolutely does. He said how Sam seems mature beyond his years. He was saying how amazing it is that Sam can command the team and command the huddle. even with his calm, laid-back demeanor. Also said that he throws a beautiful ball, very wide receiver-friendly ball. So Perryman spoke very, very highly of Sam Darnold so far. And that's very encouraging because he doesn't have to rave that much about anybody, right? He could just be like, yeah, Sam's doing pretty well, right? But he kind of went into detail and saying how much easier of a job it makes to have a pass, a quarterback like that. So, he obviously sees something special in Sam, and you can tell that. Speaking of pull, my wife went to Florida for a week and a half. Going to be doing my it's time for Juju. Juju's trade value just went up. I don't know if the Steelers are actively looking to trade him. They may be looking to try to compete this year. They got Big Ben back, and they were a pretty good team 2 years ago. Last year, obviously, with Big Ben being out, they were not. But not really sure on that. Like I said, what would their motivation be to trade him besides obviously the fact that they think he'll just walk after this year? Like I said, I'd throw him a second-round pick if Juju signs a new deal with me on the spot for a reasonable deal. I'd say maybe 20th, 15th in the league because I think he's a very high-end number 2, maybe an low-end to average number 1. So I'd pay him 15 to 20, well, not million, 15 to 20, 15th highest paid wide receiver in the league. Yes, that's middle of the pack wide receiver number 1, but as the year goes on, more and more wide receivers get paid. It'll get bumped down, and it'll be a very nice deal. I don't know what that is. I'd have to look to see, what that type of player was getting paid, though. Haven't been reading up on camp. Any word on Cager? Dude seems like a specimen. No, didn't hear much. I saw a picture of him making a catch. It looked like over the middle. But yeah, as Steven just said, they didn't mention Cager's name. I wouldn't say it doesn't sound good. I mean, he's an undrafted guy. He may not even know all the plays yet. So maybe hard to try to – and Jeff Smith was with the team last year. You kind of got to give him the first crack at it at this point. So Jeff Smith was running with the ones today. It was Perryman and Smith with Jamison Crowder in the slot. People are like, well, where was Berrios? But Berrios is a slot. Berrios is not going to play the outside. So that's why he was not thrust into that spot. Yes, Jeff Smith is still on the team. We'll see. I did not have him making the team. I still don't think he will, but I mean, obviously, if we have all these injuries, he can definitely sneak on. But you got to see if Cager or Campbell can start making plays with this. I would assume they're on the second unit now with all these injuries, that they'll start to move up. But I think Jeff Smith, seniority type deal, the fact that it's not even week 1 of training camp, these undrafted guys, they're not ready yet to jump right in there. Hopefully one of them can step up. This gives them perfect opportunity to step up and, gives Cager, Campbell some more reps, whether that be with the second team or not, right? They were probably repping with the third, fourth team before this all happened. So gives them time to get going with some better talent around them, right? One thing I haven't really heard much, and I mean, it doesn't really matter because he shouldn't play at all, but I haven't heard much about Morgan, how he may be looking. Obviously, he's probably running with the second team or third team with Flacco out right now. But I haven't heard much about how Morgan has looked so far either. What's Kotry doing? Bring him back. Yeah, I don't know. Kotry, I feel like he's been out of the league for a little bit. But like I said, the guys I look to bring in would be Gabriel, Paul Richardson, and Demaryius Thomas. Just because Demaryius Thomas' familiarity with Sam, with Gase. Those are some of the guys I look to just bring in as another body at this point. But we have to wait and see. I mean, we brought in a tight end. I understand that Griffin is still not practicing and Brown is hurt, but we brought in a tight end that had 6 catches in college through his whole college career. So he also played tackle and defensive end too. So I guess that's why he's reduced statistics from a receiving standpoint. But I mean, I don't unless you want to bring him in to compete with Wesco as the blocking tight end. I don't really know what that was about. But a lot of people raving up Chris Herndon. You hear Gay saying how he's going to be a big part of the offense. You hear Crowder speaking very highly, saying he's really going to be like the X factor of that team. He said for a guy that big to move, he said he moves like a small guy, even though he's as big as he is. And he also said that he reminds him of Josh Reed from Washington. Hopefully he stays a lot healthier than Reed has been throughout his career, because that's been the big issue with Reed. All the tight ends we have like 6'9". Yeah, but if you think about how many are actually practicing, there was only Wesco and Griffin practicing, unless I'm missing somebody else, because Brown and Griffin are not practicing right now. So unless we have another tight end beyond that, besides that guy we just signed, I don't really know. But yeah, the guy is probably just a body for right now, and then we'll see. Gore was banged up a little bit, but I think they said he might have been back today, or he was back in individuals. They're taking it slow with him. So Pierre Desir as well. So from what I heard, Pierre Desir was very minor as well. They don't anticipate him missing more than a few days, but that could be a blessing in disguise for the Jets in general, because Desir is a veteran. He'll pick up on the defense. He doesn't need the extra reps, right? So kind of let him – there's still plenty of time before the first week. He'll get up to speed with the rest of the defense and everybody. But let him take a few days off. Let some of these younger guys get more reps, because like the one thing I did say is that we had a ton of corners. We had a lot, right? So reps was going to be an issue. And how do we get all these people? Well, now one guy sitting out a few days obviously opens up a lot of reps for the other guys. So hopefully this can kind of help the team moving forward. More reps for Blessing and Austin, which I don't think this year was taking reps away from Austin anyway. But more reps for like Bryce Hall, Quincy Wilson, Arthur Millette, right? All these guys that kind of were a little bit further down or competing for that number 2 spot. So tomorrow, like I said, they'll be back at it again with shoulder pads. Looking forward to kind of hearing some more news from there. It's great that the reporters are able to, at some extent, be watching the practices, right? Whether they're actually there live when they are outdoors or whether they're watching on that closed circuit TV. It's nice to be able to get some news from them, letting us know kind of what's going on and how this team's looking. Because without preseason games, we would have known nothing leading up into the season, really, besides obviously whatever we hear in press conferences from the players and the coaches. So, like I said, it's great that they're going to be there. So I know we spoke about it on last week's call and when I had Long Beach Joe on, but the college football team is kind of like a rotating every day. Obviously, Big Ten said they're not going to play. You got players coming out saying they want to play. I was just thinking about this like literally 5 minutes before I came on this stream. The Rock just recently purchased the XFL. What a way to kind of put his stamp on the XFL, really get that thing going, than if he were to start up the league for all these college players who want to continue playing. Yes, they'll be one and done in the XFL, play 1 year and get drafted into the NFL. But why not have that could be a way to boost your league, because the way the XFL has always been, it's always been these guys who are like last chance to make something of themselves or whatnot. So the players that, nobody really heard of for a few years, a few names here and there, but most of the people names that, unless you're a diehard college fan, you probably really don't know who they are. So imagine that. Imagine relaunching the XFL with these guys who are going to be first round picks, right? It's going to be pretty much college football, right? I think that would really boost them up and really put them in a position where they can get a nice platform moving forward, because they'll get some fans that'll buy in, that they can pay these, they can pay the players. I'm sure it wouldn't be much, but obviously it'll be better than the college kids who are not getting paid at all. So I think that that would be a fantastic idea. I don't know if they're contemplating that. I mean, at first you would have been like, no, you can't really do that, right? If the colleges don't want to play, the players don't play, players are opting out. But there's a lot of players that say they want to play. So get those guys who want to play, who want to prove it, right? And like I've been mentioning, Mekhi Becton, Joe Burrow, Quinnen Williams. These are just some people I can think of off the top of my head, right? Obviously, 2 jet picks and then the number 1 overall pick this year that would not have been picked that high if they didn't get to play the last year that they did play. Like I said, Quinnen Williams was a backup the year before that. Mekhi Becton was a starter, but he was nothing special. Joe Burrow, right? Nobody even knew who he was. He was going to be like a mid-round pick. So that last year is very, very important. A lot of people move up boards quite a bit. So, well, I think that that would be something that he should strongly consider, and I hope he is. I don't get the big deal with COVID. You might get a bad flu for a week or so. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people, obviously, unfortunately, passing away from it. So it all depends, right? These athletes, it probably shouldn't be that bad for them to where any of them would really be passing away unless they had some pre-existing conditions. But you can't really fault anybody that wants to opt out, especially when it comes to the football season, because they had to opt out so early and now there's a deadline and they can't opt out. Like, you get into some things with like baseball, like random people opting out like in the middle of the season. Some of them you kind of think like, are they really opting out because of COVID or they just don't want to play this year, right? They'd rather just sit home. So I don't think that's the same with like football though. Sam's mono was 10 times worse. Doctors are getting paid to mark that as COVID virus, a few thousands for each one. Yeah, I have heard that, and actually, my aunt actually told me a story about. I think it was one of her friends or something. Person was, pretty much on a hospice due to cancer, and ended up passing away. They labeled it a COVID death, and the family fought the death certificate because the insurance didn't pay for COVID, and they got hit with a big bill. So it's ridiculous. Yeah, you don't know. And then even down here in Florida, at one point, there was a few facilities that instead of reporting positive rates as 9.7, they were reporting them as 97% positive rates. So obviously that altered numbers, but who knows? At some point, we have to try. We have to try to get back to normal and see what happens. Right? There's always going to be an uptick when we start to go back. It's gotta, unless we just the only way to not do that would be to completely just everybody, you don't leave your house for 2 weeks. Like literally, you cannot leave. But nobody's going to do that. So you kind of got to try. Did you drop link to let others join? I put it on Twitter and I put it in Dark Demonic's Discord. That's really the only spots I put it. But hopefully YouTube notified all my followers that I was going live. So I'm not really sure. That thing is not very consistent. Life is a gamble. Did you just happen to stumble on it, or did you see the link somewhere? Do you need me to send the link somewhere? Like I said, I try to get the link out wherever I do know. But let's see. I'm actually in Florida for my honeymoon. Just flew today. Nice. It's been extremely hot here lately, so I enjoy the nice weather. I was out today with my son at the soccer field, kicking the ball around and completely sweating after 5 minutes. It was insane. Come on, MC. You think if CJ would have opted out if the system didn't penalize him financially? Yeah. No, what I meant is you can have multiple people on with streaming out Talking Jets. Oh, okay. Oh, like other YouTubers? I did try to get somebody on today. I just always forget during the week. I've been extremely busy at work. I'm moving into a leadership role. So I'm working my normal role and now hiring and bringing on other people. So I've been extremely busy recently with work. So I always forget to kind of try to reach out to people in advance. Tried to reach out to Gangrene David earlier today because I saw him post a video, but then he was out and about in the wilderness somewhere. So no dice on that. But yeah, I want to get some guys on here live moving forward, but we'll see what happens. I had Long Beach Joe on for a regular chat. I would definitely want to get him on here for one of these live streams too. I had a lot of fun talking with him. I know a lot of you guys like and support him as well. Does Sam get COVID? No, don't even say that. No, with these guys here in the chat, anyone who joins you here can jump on and talk Jets. I haven't tried that yet. I think right now with how small my following is, to be honest, I can kind of respond to every comment in there. I think as my channel starts to grow and more people kind of come in, I can pick somebody like that, and I definitely wouldn't be opposed to doing that. But like I said, right now we can chat pretty freely in here. So that's probably why I wouldn't do it with just subscribers. So Burnt Dice and Steven's wife are in a condo together in the Orlando area. Interesting. Not just messing with you guys. Yeah, Orlando's about 2.5 hours from me. So I'm a little southeast of Orlando. But glad you guys are. Steven, why did you not attend? Why did you not go down to Florida? Was it the whole pandemic? You couldn't stand to be by your wife anymore, so you decided to send her away for a little bit? But so it's interesting that I was reading a tweet from somebody today as well that here we go, a bunch of Florida Jets fans. But I was reading that Peanut was like not running with the ones, and I think Cashman was running with the ones. So I think Greg's going to rotate all those guys kind of in. He saw what happened last year. He wants them all to be fluent with each other. Okay, yeah, it is not the best time to come down in Florida in August. It is very hot. Like I said, it was yesterday. It was 93. Feel like was 103. I was mowing the lawn and thought I was going to pass out, but yeah. So there are a lot of New York fans. There's a lot of New Yorkers just in general down in Florida. Maybe we can trade Avery for a wide receiver. I don't think they're trading Avery with Mosley opting out. I think that could have been a very strong possibility if Mosley was here, but I just don't see that happening now. Been here from the beginning, been cooking, so I haven't been commenting until now. Hey, Todd, no problem. I'm glad you've been here. It's like going to Canada in January. Steven does not like the extremes. We can see that right now. So I don't know what they're going to do with the wide receiver. Like I said, there's some people that they can definitely bring in, some free agent talent. They could also look to trade. They could also look to kind of wait and see who may kind of fall through the cracks from some of these other teams. Any good Jets bars in PSL? I don't know, Mr. Majix. I'm sure there is. I know that there's a place, Duffy's, where it's just a big sports bar. So there's a lot of people go there. I typically like to go to the smaller ones. I go with my dad a lot. So like whenever the games aren't on the TVs locally. So I'd rather go to a small one where I can kind of just walk in a few minutes before one, get a seat right at the bar, right in front of the TV I want, and kind of just have some beer and some wings. So we usually go to Hurricane Grill and Wings. It's a chain place, but there's a bunch of them in the Port St. Lucie area. We'll go to one of them, like a smaller one too, Because like I said, I like to just be able to go in right before the game, sit right at the bar. I don't like the big sports bars. They just get too packed and too crowded. I don't know. I'd rather not. I'm there to kind of just watch the game and hang out with my dad. So that's just how I kind of roll. MC, my friend just left for Florida, being in St. Lucie later in the week. Nice. We need a few wide receivers. I think JD will jump on a camp cut or two. Yeah, that's the thing. But the cuts are just so late in camp, right? They don't do the 2 cuts anymore. It's just one swift swoop cut and a whole bunch of them. So we'll have to just see. That may not be for a few weeks. The rules here are so much looser than PA. No one's wearing masks and you can drink at the bar. Yeah, so it depends on the area. Like the county south of me, they had a mask mandate. It just expired like a few days ago. So now you don't have to wear masks over there anymore. The county I live in does still have the mask mandate. So if you're out and about, you do have to wear the mask. It is what it is. I mean, I read something that those gaiters, neck gaiters, the thing that like goes down here and you just pull up like that, it says it's worse than not even wearing a mask. So check out, hit like, check back and show support, hit the like. Yes, Todd, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, hit that like. And if you are new, please subscribe. But it looks like most of you guys are here every week. I love the support that you guys have for me every week. But and as you guys see, man, I really do listen to what you guys say, man. You've asked me to collab with some people. I brought on SSN, a Dolphins YouTuber. One of you guys, I forget exactly who said it, wanted me to collab with Long Beach Joe. I thought we had a great show. It was a lot of fun. I know it was a lot longer than any of my videos, right? My live chats are always an hour, but it was a lot longer than any of my videos because that was almost an hour as well. But we discussed a lot of topics, got a lot of things going. And I know we've both we haven't spoken more about it since then, but I know we were both very, very excited about working together again. I got to start getting on other people's channels, so too. Bringing them onto my channel is great because I know you guys enjoy it, but to be honest, it doesn't really help my channel grow that much. I got to try to get out there and speak on some other channels, help this thing grow a little bit. We've kind of been stuck in the 170 range for quite a while here. All masks are bad. They cut off your breathing supply. You're breathing in carbon dioxide. I would agree. I'm in NYC for work. No one allowed in bars or restaurants. Yeah, like my brother too. He's like, with all these opt outs of these players, and he goes, he's talking about he works for Long Island Railroad. He goes, look, I can't opt out. He goes, I got to go support my family, right? I got to go to work every day. So it's an interesting balance. Brent, where are you from? Yeah, I thought so too. I thought Joe was a great guest as well. It was a lot of fun. Any word on a season start date? Yeah, it's just John. As of right now, it's scheduled to start on time. So next month, September. They didn't push that back at all. All they literally did was they started training camp a little early because they gave you like a mini camp before training camp, and they wiped out all the preseason games. But the start of the season is supposed to be whatever that first or second week in September, whenever it normally was. So no word as of yet on a change to that. Like I said, all they did was wipe out those preseason games and give you more time to practice together as a team. Jets Talk was giving you a nice shout out last week on his show. Yeah, I called into a show. Yeah, he gave me a shout out. But yeah, I called in and spoke on his show for the 5 minutes until the chicken or whatever the hell it is flew across the screen and kicked me off. But yeah, I try to call him to his show whenever I can. It's difficult. He's got a lot of people that go on there and a lot of people calling in, so it's hard to get through. But when I have some time, like I said, I have 2 little ones, so when I get some time, I try to call in and talk to him a little bit. But we'll kind of see. Yeah, you can't win at parks. Machines are rigged. I was blowing you up in the chat. I appreciate that, man. If you guys want to ever see me on there, just keep mentioning it to him. I know that he listens to you guys, and I've been trying to talk to him as well. He said if he ever has a spot open on that panel, if somebody's out, he may give me a chance. So I'm excited. Like I said, that's what I enjoy doing. I love to go on there and kind of chat up with them. Who would be Jets fantasy football leader? So I think there's a few people on the Jets this year that can really be impactful for your fantasy team. And now it all depends. I try not to give out fantasy advice because I play in a league with a bunch of buddies, and we've gotten – it's like death by analytics almost. They get so detailed on this stuff, and they try to tweak so much stuff that we're so far off of like standard scoring that my advice may not always translate because because of the type of league that I play in. So I think Le'Veon Bell is going to be a good value for where he's at. From what I heard, it looks like he may not even go in the first round this year. I think if the line is as improved as I think, he will have a good bounce back year. Perryman, I think, especially if all these other guys are going to be hurt, I think Perryman can have a very nice year. I'd stay away from Mims, especially with his injury. I don't think you'd have to draft him. Crowder is going to be very good, especially in PPR, like Burnt just said down there, because we saw what happened when Donald was in the game. He loved to target Crowder, Herndon. So like I said, I think that those are going to be the top four guys. And it's crazy to think that we can have four. The Jets defense could be not half bad either. But like I said, I would stay away from Mims. I would stay – and like I said, if you're in a 2 QB league, I'm in a 2 QB league, I'm taking Sam Darnold. I promise you guys I'm drafting him. Unless somebody knows I want him because they know obviously that I'm a fan of the Jets, and they try to overdraft him just to piss me off. But I'm going to draft Sam. I drafted him last year. Obviously, the whole mono and everything kind of didn't help, but definitely going to draft Sam. I can get him later in the draft. I know that. So we'll see. I'm excited. I'm hoping that my guys want to play this year because we skipped out on baseball because they were afraid of everybody opting out for COVID. You're going to draft a team and half your guys are going to opt out. But with football, I kind of told them, I was like, with football being over, you can't opt out anymore. Why not play? So I love drafting and like building the team up. It's something that's very interesting to me. So I can't wait, but I can't do it in just like a BS, like a public league. I have to do it in a league where I know that people are going to pay attention and do things because then it's not fun, right? So, yeah, who knows, man? Maybe one day I'll create an NY Sports MC league and have a bunch of subs kind of join. I think that would be pretty cool. But yeah, so if I had to pick one person to be the leader, I mean, I think easy money would say Le'Veon Bell. I think that's easy money. He would be the fantasy leader. But if you want to say what could be the best value person, I think it should be Perryman. I think people are not going to be sold on what he did at the end of last year. I think people are not going to be sold on the Jets offense or team in general. I don't know where Perryman is projected to be selected. I haven't started really doing research yet because like I said, my league hasn't even opened the league yet. So I think that he could be the best value pick when it comes to Jets players. Gase has been much improved with interviews. He's been backing the players and taking blame. Yeah, hopefully that shows some growth, Burnt, that he's kind of doing that, right? So that was one thing that he has not done in the past. So it's good to see that. No matter what, it's going to be middle of the pack offense for us. Maybe. Well, like I said, I think that's what you kind of have to expect because to make a leap from like worst to first or worst to top 10, that's tough. It's not going to happen. There's a lot of good offenses in this league right now too. So I think middle of the pack, you'd be very, very happy with that. And I think that means that Gase did a good job. If he gets this, I know he's supposed to be the offensive guru. He's supposed to be getting his top half and towards the top of the league, but it's a process, right? We're building it. We literally have four new starters, one guy who didn't start week 1 for us. So on the offensive line, so it's a work in progress. And think who on that team. Let's count them up. This is gonna be quick. Who on that team started week 1 for the Jets on offense? Sam Darnold, Le'Veon Bell. Herndon did not start week 1. Am I done? Crowder. 3 people. That's insane, right? So it's got to be steps, right? We can't say, hey, we brought 3 out of 11 people back from our starting, and we're gonna jump from worst to first. No. You got to build chemistry. You got to build a team, and it's gonna be a work in progress. I don't know. I have 100% faith in Sam, and we have decent weapons. Yeah, but like I said, as Steven says, their weapons are hurt. Mims is hurt. Vincent Smith is hurt, and I don't like the core injury. Mims was not going to be the 5th target. All right, so if you're saying targets, so now we're factoring Lev Bell and Herndon. Yeah, maybe, probably. Because if I had to guess, who's going to be targeted the most? The order. 1A and 1B are going to be very, very close. I think it's going to be Herndon, Crowder, Perryman, and then probably Lev Bell out of the backfield. Or Mims if he's healthy. Yeah, Mims is definitely in the red zone for sure. Mims, Hearn, Mims, and probably Griffin if Griffin gets healthy. That's why I'm saying we can have some decent weapons out on the field. Like I said, if you run a set with Perryman, Herndon, Griffin, Mims, Bell, Crowder, that's a lot of different weapons and a lot of different abilities. So. But like you guys mentioned before, I'm excited to see as we go further into camp, kind of hear if some of these lower draft picks or even undrafted guys can start to kind of make a name for themselves. Like I said, without a preseason game to really watch them in, it's going to be difficult to kind of see how these guys can play. It's going to be harder for them to make the team. So apparently, Quinn Williams has looked very good. Adam Gase has spoken very highly of Mekhi Becton and how well he's done and said how the learning curve has been not as big as it usually is. So glad to hear that. I know obviously we heard in one of the first practices that Quinn Williams blew right past them. But I'm expecting Quinnen to be a beast this year. So yeah, we did get Hogan. He's a little pesky guy. I think he could be a really good 3rd down type of guy for us. I can see him potentially making the team. I'll tell you what, though, if Mims and Vincent Smith are not hurt that bad, which I don't know if they would have brought him in if they weren't, but if they do get back, Hogan's competing with Berrios at that point. But we'll have to see. Like I said, hopefully Mims is not that badly hurt. Herndon's going to be the number 1 red zone target. Hopefully other teams will cut wide receivers for us. Yeah, they could. Or, like I said, or we could just swap a player like we did. Like I said, I always go back to the Calvin Pryor for Demario Davis type deal, right? We do have a lot of inside backers, so we could potentially trade an inside backer for a wide receiver. Who knows? I don't think it'll be Williamson like somebody mentioned earlier, though. So we'll kind of see what happens, but I can definitely see Joe potentially trying to make a trade for one as well. Connor McGovern also had a lot of good things to say about Sam Darnold. Apparently, Sam Darnold got up in front of the team and kind of gave a speech. Dark Demonic showing up pretty late. How's it going, Dark? Take Barrios over Hogan. Yeah, no, I probably would as well. But that's what I was saying. If they're healthy, that's who he's going to be competing with to try to make the team. Working out a few running backs. I'm just trying to see if anything else kind of happened while we've been on here. Doesn't really seem like much. Yeah, Sam Darnold is a receiver's dream. That was from Perryman. So Perryman has spoken very, very highly, like I said. So apparently the offensive line, we've heard some good things about them as well. Some of the players have came out and said that they don't think that building that chemistry is going to be an issue, that they think that they're going to be able to get up to speed. Andrew says Dark Demonic has to do 10 push-ups for being late. Demonic is on and has done a great job. I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but has been doing a fabulous job of dieting and exercising and lost a ton of weight. So we are very proud of him. So I'm sure he will gladly give you 10 push-ups. Hogan's route tree is better. Yeah, and that's the thing. Hogan is he's a very crisp route runner. He does get open quite a bit. So he can kind of be that third down weapon for sure. So I wouldn't be opposed to keeping Hogan. But we just have to see. I hope we don't have to keep Hogan. That's the big thing. If we have to keep him because Mims and or Vincent Smith are out for an extended period of time, that's going to hurt the team. But if those guys come back and they just play well and he still makes the team, right, fine, so be it. That does probably mean that either Berrios or Cager or some of those guys don't make the team. But it is what it is at that point. I think they have an uphill battle to make the team anyway with no preseason games. So, like I said, I definitely think that we bring in another wide receiver if those guys are out for a while. I think we're going to keep him because we don't have number 4 or 5 wide receiver, I'm guessing. Is Hogan good anymore? I just remember him being on the Pats. He was on the Panthers last year, didn't play too much. Was he hurt? I don't know if he was hurt or just was buried on a depth chart. But, he's just – we're not going to expect 1,000 yards from him, right? But if he could just pick up, come in as like that 4th or 5th receiver, kind of just he's a shifty little guy. So I'm sure he can get open, make a few plays. The good thing is, though, he does know the playbook too because he did play on the Dolphins when Gase was there. So I think they overlapped. What up, Mike? It's Omar. Omar, how's it going, buddy? Thank you for coming on in. So Omar is one of those guys I was telling you is in my fantasy football league. So hopefully we get that up and running soon. Sucks we don't have preseason games to talk about. Yeah, I think this would have been the weekend, right? I think the first preseason game was supposed to be today. Or this weekend. I know they spread them out. So that would have been – we would have had a lot of fun tonight talking about how well Sam looked on his first drive as he let him down for a touchdown and then sat the bench the rest of the game. But, it does, like, as much as we're like, hey, preseason sucks, we don't want anybody to get injured, it's fun to watch to kind of see how these guys are looking. It builds up that extra excitement, right? Because if they did come out and drive right down the field and score a touchdown and defense gets the other team 3 and out, we would have been fired up, all ready to go. Look at this team. So, I do miss it. I hope that it just gets trimmed down to like the 2 games like they wanted to. I don't think it'll be gone forever, but do we need the full 4? I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, the 4th game is a JV game anyway, so I think it's Curtis Martin Day, 28 days till the first game. I honestly have to say I love the trade picks we got for getting rid of Adams. Joe really is thinking about our future. Absolutely. We spoke about this last week, but he got great compensation for Jamal Adams, especially when Jamal was making it very known that he wanted to leave. So I thought that was great. And what I always say, and I keep bringing this up because nobody else seems to be talking about it, is not only did we get 2 first-round picks, not only did we get the 3rd-round pick, not only did we get Bradley McDougald, but I guarantee you, if Jamal did not act like this, we were going to pay him after this season, and we were going to pay him pretty good money. So now you also get that money back. that money that you were going to give to him. So now imagine this. We got 2 first-round picks. We got a third-round pick. And let's just say maybe we go out and sign Joe Thuney. Now you got an all-pro guard, 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick for Jamal Adams. All right, people don't look at it like that. Nobody really is saying that. But that's the big thing too, because like I said, if Jamal would have stayed, we don't have that extra money where we could have potentially used it on somebody like that, right? Or maybe we would have always brought in Thuney, but maybe now it's another guy. Maybe he's paying Juju Smith-Schuster, right? Maybe it's something like that. Like we have a lot of extra money now to go out and spend on somebody else. That could be maybe a more premium position. Jamal just blew a chance of the millions he could have made with us. So I did read something that it kind of made sense, but I have a lot of faith in Joe Douglas and his staff there. But they were saying with the fact that there may not be a college season, it was saying it diminishes the value of those first-round picks because it makes it more of a lottery ticket than it usually is. And I can understand why people say that. And maybe that's part of the reason why the Seahawks pulled the trigger on 2 firsts. Maybe they felt that way, like, hey, they're probably not going to be a college season this year. So this year's first-round pick's not that big a deal. I could definitely see them kind of validating it that way, right? And if I was a Seahawks fan, I'd probably validate it that way. Like, we're giving up a really, really unproven thing in this first-round pick for a very proven player in the league. So we can see, hopefully, we trade the Hawks first for more picks. They could do that. They could definitely do that. Adams got celebrity head. Glad he's gone. Yeah, and he just keeps talking even more. He won't get $20 million next year from the Seahawks. If he did, Russell Wilson should hold out. Yeah, because I think they need to give him money soon too, I believe, Russell Wilson. Because I don't think he's making that much money. Like compared to these other quarterbacks and what they're signing, I think they owe Wilson a new deal. I don't know how much time is left on his current deal. If anyone knows or can look it up, just throw it in the chat. But we'll have to see. I won't be surprised if Gase is gone in a couple of years. Wasn't he hired before the GM? Yes, he was hired before Joe Douglas was brought in, but he was hired right before, right? He was hired, they did a free agency draft, then the GM was fired and they brought him in. But he is very much friends with Joe Douglas. He helped bring Joe Douglas in. I don't think he was the main reason. But so they have even though Joe Douglas didn't hire Gase, they do have a relationship. And I hope that Gase is here for a very long time. Not because I'm a huge Gase supporter, but that means the team's doing well, right? We as fans should never want our coach to be fired before the season starts, right? Like saying, oh, he needs to be fired by the end. Because if you say, I want him fired after this year, that means we had another bad year, right? So I hope he does really well. But yeah, if he starts to do if he's still doing poorly during the year, then yeah, we can say during the year, let's fire him, let's get him out of here. It's fine, no problem. But to try to say going into the year, I just think I can never do it. I can never do it. Maybe I'm just a hater, but I hope Robbie flops this year. Yeah, I don't. It's not going to bother me, whatever he does. I just hope Perryman does better than him. I honestly like the fact, an important fact, Joe Douglas did not make the same mistake as Mac and go all in with playoffs and see free agency, which many Jets fans was upset at. 2015 going all in cost us 4 years already. Signing big names guys when the Jets clearly were not ready to play. Yeah, that's the thing. And I think that, it depended though, Demonic. I think that if Joe Thuney did not get franchise tagged, I think that would have been the one guy that he would have made a very serious run at and possibly try to pay big money to. I think it all kind of added up to this offseason, right? There wasn't really that premium person out there to spend those big dollars on. So he went with a lot of short-term deals that he can get out of pretty early. And I think that was the best way to kind of go through this offseason. Donald did have the mono. If he was healthy, it would have been a very different season. Absolutely. I mean, we won 7 games with him missing 3. I think if he didn't have mono, we could have potentially beat the Bills week 1 because I don't care what anybody says. He had mono during that game, right? We found out like a few days later. He just didn't know he had mono. And I can guarantee you one thing, he was probably exhausted towards the end of that game, right? Maybe that's why we went out 16-0 and then couldn't score again after that. Like I said, fatigue could have been playing a huge factor. I think that's what happened. I think he was very fatigued, and that's what made him go to a doctor to see what was going on and find out that he had mono, right? So, and then we probably beat the Browns with a healthy Sam Darnold too, because they were not very impressive in the beginning of that game when we couldn't get anything going. So who knows? And then also some of the games when Sam was back, obviously if he never missed time, he would have been playing a little bit better in more of a rhythm. So we would just have to say Mac got himself fired because he went all in instead of drafting players that he was known for, but none of his pick were working out. Yeah, and that's the thing. Mac was a scout too. He was supposed to be known for his picks, but yeah, maybe he just kind of got himself too much into the free agency and lacked on the scouting end. I don't know, but that was tough. You can't just strictly build from free agency. You have to hit on draft picks. Losing most of this, but yeah, it was. But like I said, we didn't have him last season, so it hurts us from where we thought we could have been with Mosley healthy. But if we look at last year's defense to this year, I think the defense is still going to be better. Mosley needs to get. If we can, I would do it. And like I said, the worst thing about him opting out is how they structure these deals now and how everything is pushed back a year. Because like I said, when we first signed him, I was like, works out perfect. We can kind of cut ties when we need to pay Sam. But now everything gets moved back a year, and they're kind of going to overlap the year. So it doesn't help. But we'll have to see what happens. Think we should be hoping CJ. He's not going to retire. He's still too young for that. His contract is tradable next year. We should trade Mosley. He will be fully healthy. Yeah, the thing is, I can see a contender that needs a linebacker wanting him. When he was on the field, that defense was solid. Yeah, he was the best player on that field week 1 for sure, without a doubt. He was all over the place. Doesn't he still have like 30 million? Probably something like that, Burnt. I want the Jets to keep Bell, but it is looking unlikely. Douglas wants his own guy in, but Bell is a team player. Yeah, and Bell, apparently Bell and Gase have a much better relationship than Manish Mehta wants to make it seem. It seems like they are doing, have a good relationship together. But I can see him staying. Maybe they can restructure him so that he's not making so much. But he is a good leader on that team right now. Somebody that we need. Who is Connor Davis? A guy who's not going to make the team. That's the short answer. The long answer is he's a tight end who played tight end, defensive end, and offensive tackle in college. He had 6 career catches. He was in the XFL recently, but was like healthy scratches almost every week. He's a big dude, though. He's like 6'8", 6'7", 270 maybe. He's a big guy. But I don't see him making the team. I think he's just an extra body for right now as we're kind of low on tight ends. If the Jets signed Barr, the Jets would have been in more of a contract mess. Good thing Barr was a coward. I still can't believe that happened. That was just crazy. The whole Barr signed and then slept on it, woke up and felt horrible and backed out. Yeah, that's the thing. I think we have to get him on a more reasonable deal to keep him here. She's been here 10 minutes making good, strong debates. Yeah, love it, Demonic. I hope we get football this year. We're going to get football. The NFL is playing. It's whether we get college football. I want Bell to retire. Jet, no reason for him to go unless he regresses. Yeah, like I said, I would try to extend him and just spread the money out more, right, to get him on a more reasonable deal moving forward. Bell needs to get to football shape, so the numbers. Yeah, he's in amazing shape this year. They said he's as light as he's ever been since high school. So hopefully he's not too light, but he's ready to go for sure. The best strategy for running backs is to draft one every 3 years and don't re-sign. Yeah, and there's always good running backs coming out, so I definitely agree with that. I think they could draft one next year, maybe in the third round or so. Roger Goodell cares more about money than the players. There will be a full season. Jerry Jones said he's going to allow fans to show up at Dallas. I wonder if the NFL blocks that. Who knows? These virtual fans are weird, though. I haven't really been watching any games, but from the other sports, but I saw it on like highlights. It looks weird. It should be enter at own risk. Yeah, exactly. Put a little disclaimer on the ticket that says by purchasing this ticket, you do not hold us liable if you were to get COVID. You're entering the stadium at your own risk. The thing is, they just don't want to spread it to even more people because you have stupid people like this high schooler who knew he had COVID but was asymptomatic, went to high school anyway. Why? Let's just be smarter. Like, just stay home if you know you have it, right? Bell is working his ass off because he knows he's getting cut after this year and wants money. Yeah, could very well be that, but I think he also wants to. I really do think he wants to prove to everybody that the Le'Veon of old is still there, and that he can still be the dominant force that he was. So, Demonic, I don't think you were here for that. I was mentioning how lose chance at NFL because of fear mongering. So, Demonic, listen to this proposal. I thought it was like 5 minutes before I went live. I know you weren't on when I spoke about it. The Rock just purchased the XFL, right? What better way? You have all these players, all these college athletes who want to play, but maybe the Big Ten canceled, right? Things like that. What better way to launch his new XFL than to bring in all these guys and say, here's your opportunity to show it to the NFL? Granted, they're only going to be one and dones in your league, but it'll get a lot of publicity for your league. It'll help you really build that brand up. And then moving forward, who knows? Maybe you can poach some college kids, pay them a little bit compared to going to college. They go there and play there instead. Why not, right? Instead of like just starting up the league with a bunch of people that nobody's ever really heard of. So I think that would be great for them to do that. I don't know if they'd be able to ramp it up that fast, right, for this season. Say, hey, we got all these teams and sign deals to play the game somewhere. It'd probably be very difficult for them to do that. But if they can pull it off, I think that would be a home run for them. It's all on purpose anyway, population control, whether you want to believe it or not. Government don't give a shit about any of us. If the XFL resumes next year, I'm already getting season tickets. So like I said, I think that that's a good way for them to kind of launch it, kind of get it going. A good platform for those players to continue to play because there's so many players, and I've mentioned it time and time again, there's so many players that really show out that last year before coming out and moved themselves up draft boards tremendously. So it would be a shame if they didn't get to show their talents this year. I had so much fun going to the Tampa Bay Vipers game. I met Shane O'Mac and Oliver Luck. I hope they can get him back. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I didn't go to any of them. I haven't been to a professional sports game in a while. Definitely want to get back. I want to bring my son, my older one, to Jets-Dolphins game. Probably be the next thing I try to go to. Not this year, but next year. My wife won't let me take him right now with everything going on. But definitely something I'm interested in. That's a good idea. Guys will need to prove they're good enough for the NFL. Yeah. And like I said, it'll get a lot of people to watch the XFL because they're going to want to watch. They may be Bama fans. They may be, Georgia fans. They may be Ohio State fans, right? Fans of all these teams. And maybe they want to watch Fields play or they want to watch, some of their favorite players from their team play. So then, they'll start watching the XFL team and then get hooked and kind of continue watching. Joe Flacco is injured. And they said he'll miss probably the first week or two. So we'll have to just see. So they're Demonic and Stephen both saying he'll be ready by game 3. So hopefully, no, he's not practicing. He is not practicing. I'm sure he's I don't know if he's there or not. I would hope that he's at least there, kind of, talking with Sam, helping out any way possible from just a vocal leadership, just like another coach essentially. But I don't know. Haven't heard anything about that yet. Fales is going to make the roster until Joe comes back. Yeah, and Fales is probably going to suit up because they probably don't want Morgan to be forced into a game. So I hope that Morgan suits up because we've seen what Fales can do, and it's not very impressive. So at least give Morgan a try. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. But Flacco is hurt right now. So, all right, guys. Well, I hope you guys had fun. What about Ryan Griffin? Ryan Griffin's still working his way back from, I forget the injury, whatever injury it was that ended his season. He's on the PUP list right now. He'll be back before week 1. I don't know exactly when. Haven't heard much, but I know that they said that he wasn't supposed to be out for much longer. So with that, I'll leave you guys on that. Look forward to speaking with you guys again next week. I'm going to try to get somebody to come on live with me. We'll see how it works. But I will probably be in the comment section tomorrow for Jets 24/7 Talk. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter at NYSportsMC. And as always, Jet up.